Monsieur le ministre, nous voici à nouveau à Marseille, 4 mois après la venue du président de...
The President Macron hosted the Prime Minister Modi, and so this is important for the French-Indian relationship. And Marseille is a key platform of connectivity, transport, digital, technology and energy between Europe, the Middle East and India. These Franco-Indian dynamics are at the heart of our common investment in the IMEC project that aims to reinforce connectivity between these three regions, with two extremities from Mumbai to Marseille. So it is our determination to consolidate the connectivity between France and India that we have confirmed this morning with Minister Chai Shankar, who I'd like to thank for his presence. And so together we participated in the first edition of Resident Dialogue Mediterranean, organised by the Indian think tank Barrot. We also have discussed in depth the density of our bilateral relations and the international topics that the Franco-Indian partnership forges a pillar of stability. We talked about the war in Ukraine, and I recalled that the fundamental principles of the United Nations Charter in respect to sovereignty and territorial integrity has been severely harmed by the war in Ukraine. France and India are attached to international order governed by law, and the Prime Minister Modi has really had the opportunity of underlining that India supports Ukraine, and the Minister repeated this in the French press earlier this week. We are encouraging a ceasefire in Ukraine, a sustainable peace, and this is why the European Union has decided to consolidate their presence in Russia with the new sanction to draw them to the table of negotiation. We have also mentioned the terrorist attack that India suffered on the 20th of April, which caused the death of 26 civilians and shocked the entire world. France condemned the attack firmly, and we support India in its fight against terrorism. India has the right to defend itself against terrorism, and we saluted the ceasefire on the 10th of May last, which was stemmed from this. The stability of the region is crucial, and I know that India is very concerned about sustainable peace. We wish to continue our close cooperation in the fight against terrorism with India against our common enemy. We also mentioned the number of points of convergence between France and India on the Indo-Pacific region, where we plead for a free, open space within which there is respect of the right of law, rules of law and sovereignty, and our approach of the region is non-confrontational and is based on the objective of strategic autonomy. We build partnerships with our sovereignty to reduce our dependency, and those are the Indo-Pacific Partnership also. And it's in this spirit that the President of France came to the region a few days ago, and upon the meeting of the Shankar Dialogue, pronounced a speech on this topic. France has been made aware of the airstrikes by Israel against Iran and its nuclear installations tonight. France is very concerned with this escalation and is calling out for instant halt of any action that may destabilize the region. France is monitoring the situation on the ground, and our first concern, and my first concern, is the security of our agents and our citizens in the region. We call the parties to use all diplomatic means to defuse the situation, and France is ready to contribute to this objective in tight coordination with all of its partners. France, remember, has reiterated its concern about the acceleration of the Iran nuclear program, which is a serious threat for the security of the national territory and which violates the international law. And this week there was a vote for resolution in the Governor's Council of the Atomic Energy Agency following the publication of a report by its General Director. France has regularly expressed its support to looking for a diplomatic solution within the scope of the efforts underway, and this morning I talked to my Israeli and Saudi homologues to recall these principles, France recalls its attachment to regional stability and the security of Israel, and reiterates that all of this must not make us forget what is happening in Gaza, where we call for an immediate ceasefire, the release of all of the hostages of the Hamas, and immediate access to humanitarian aid. The determination of France to come to a political solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is intact, and we will continue our efforts in this direction.
Thank you. As my colleague said, I'm back in Marseille. It's wonderful to be back, and thank you for hosting me. I think we had very good discussions today, and it was a pleasure to participate at the Raisina Mediterranean Dialogue, including the session that the two of us did this morning. I should also add that before coming here, I was in Paris. I had the honor to call on President Macron day before yesterday. In terms of our strategic partnership, our enduring partnership, what I do want to say is that it's built on shared values, on a strong sense of sovereignty, on our democratic commitment, on independence, on strategic autonomy guiding our foreign policy, and obviously on our commitment to multilateralism and respect for international law. And clearly over the years, I think there's a very high degree of trust between India and France as we look at our relationship and cooperation. Today, as the Minister also indicated, we have really had wide-ranging discussions which covered defense, it covered civilian nuclear energy, it covered space, counter-terrorism, people-to-people relations, innovation, AI, technology. And we actually spent a little while discussing how between education, research, business, and mobility, how we can really find new ways of adding more substance to our relationship. When I look at the horizon, I think what is important is the India-France Year of Innovation next year. We are really gearing up to use that as an additional new driver of our relationship, and we are in many ways trying to prepare for that. In terms of what we discussed, let me just, in addition to what the Minister said, highlight some particular aspects from my perspective. One, I would like to express our deep appreciation to France for the strong condemnation of the cross-border terrorist attack that took place on 22nd April at Pahalgam, and for France's steadfast support for India's right to defend itself against terrorism. Second, where the pillars of our strategic partnership are concerned, especially defense, security, space, and civilian nuclear cooperation, I think we agreed to intensify all of these through very concrete measures and projects in the time to come. Third, where the Indo-Pacific is concerned, we both share a vision of a free and open Indo-Pacific where international law and maritime security are upheld. We discussed joint efforts for collaboration to promote those objectives. In addition to that, our conversations today covered IMEC, our triangular development cooperation, how do we take forward some of our trilateral mechanisms. We have one with the UAE and with Australia, and I look forward to a more detailed conversation about President Macron's recent visit to the Indo-Pacific. Let me to that also say a few words about culture and people-to-people exchanges. For us, this is a very special aspect of our relationship with France. You welcome a lot of students to this country. We hope that the numbers can grow in the years to come so that they constitute a deep living bridge between us. We also see France as a very valued partner in our National Museum project in Delhi, as well as we discussed today cooperation for our National Maritime Heritage complex that we are building. And even when we talk about the year of innovation, I think cultural innovation is a very important part of that. Finally, let me just say a few words about the the international global issues that we discussed. We've had some conversations. We expect to continue it after the press remarks as well. So those have covered the situation in Ukraine, obviously the situation in the Indian subcontinent, a brief discussion on what is happening right now in the Middle East and the Indo-Pacific. Once again, I want to say thank you very much for hosting me here today. It's always good to be back here, and I do think that the Raisina Mediterranean dialogue has actually added a new facet to our relationship, and in many ways we need platforms to discuss and develop a kind of a common understanding about the IMEC and other partnership endeavors that we have. I think it's been very useful. Thank you.
One question from Brussels and from the French press agency about the tragic crash of the plane. Do you have some news? It looks like one of the black boxes just have been found. Do you have any news about this?
No, I don't have any specific news. Obviously, I'm also following, I'm out of the country. I'm following what probably you are as well. It's been really a very tragic event, and I have in the last 24 hours been in touch with my counterparts in UK, Portugal and Canada, because they also lost their citizens. We again appreciate very much the condolences and sympathy and support which we got from the French government. And I think we'll have to now wait to see more authoritative news about whatever has been found and what the analysis thereafter shows.
So you're going to do all the investigation of the things to understand what happened?
Yes, that is what is the standard procedure in these circumstances.
So as both the countries are sharing same seaport, we are planning on collaborating for the maritime security to reduce the maritime crimes.
Donc, pour réduire les crimes maritimes, quand vous partagez une mer commune, qu'est-ce que vous prévoyez pour la sécurité maritime?
Comme nous avons pu l'aborder
As we discussed this morning together within the scope of the Resina in Mediterranean, and I would like to reiterate how honored we are to welcome its first edition, and we are already preparing to host the second next year. So we intend to reinforce our cooperation because we are both nations of the Indo-Pacific. I would like to recall the presence of France with Mayotte and Reunion Island. In the past few months, we, on a number of occasions, have had the opportunity of demonstrating this common ambition, in particular when the Aeronaval Group, with the Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier and its accompanying ships, participated with the Indian Navy to military exercises, and that's one of the initial steps of our tour around the Indo-Pacific Ocean. So this exercise it has occurred within a series of border operations, Antalada operations, and programs such as Queen Maria that contribute through the respectful presence of the sovereignty of the states, international law, and the international law of the sea, contributes to guaranteeing security within this Indo-Pacific region, side by side with our partners, and the first of which is, of course, India.
Let me add to that. I also want to make some remarks on one issue which I missed out in my original remarks. Where maritime security is concerned, India is making a significant contribution in the Indo-Pacific. We have forces deployed in the northern Arabian Sea, in the Gulf of Somalia, dealing with threats including missile attacks on maritime shipping. Generally, in the Indo-Pacific, we have been really a net security contributor, often a first responder. We have been very active, at the Malacca Strait security monitoring as well as beyond. So it is an area where we have responsibilities, we take them very seriously, and we execute many of those responsibilities in conjunction with our trusted partners like France, and the Minister, I think, shared those details. In addition to that, there was one issue which the Minister commented on, but I left it out in my remarks. And this is with regard to Ukraine. It has always been our position that this is not an era where differences can be settled, should be settled through war. We believe that dialogue and diplomacy is the answer. We do think that negotiations, no solution is going to come out of the battlefield. That has always been our position. We believe that direct negotiations between the parties concerned is most important. And I can say where India is concerned, and I can also tell you that this is the very widespread sentiment in the world, especially among global South countries, that nobody wants to see this conflict continue, and that the sooner it is brought to an end, the better it is.
Eh bien, merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.